it was a really brave thing for him to do, really, wasn't it? He'd not long been diagnosed autistic, and he had a lot going on to try and deal with, but he was happy to tell us that he had a secret and he wanted to share it with us. He was worried about sharing it with me, actually. So he came to you, didn't he?
Yeah, we were actually sat in a restaurant for his birthday, and he said to me, when we get home, I've got a secret I want to tell you. I'm having 4 children. We often hear things like that, and it turns out to be something stupid. So I didn't really think too much of it and forgot about it once we got home. And just as he was going to bed, he asked me to go in his room and shut the door. Went to talk to me and said, actually, can I write it down? So he wrote on a piece of paper that he was gay and he had a crush on a boy at school. We talked it through, and I just said, okay, are you happy? Is there anything that you don't understand or anything you want to talk to me about? And there wasn't really much that he did want to discuss about it. I think he just wanted to get it off his chest because it had been playing on his mind. I asked him whether he wanted to tell his dad, and he didn't. He was worried about telling Gareth. I don't know why. Gareth only cares that the boys are happy, and that's it.
Well, I've got the shouty, boomy voice.
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm looked upon the soft one in the house, and all of the boys look at Gareth as being, I suppose, the discipliner, if that's a word, disciplinary figure in our house. So, yeah, he was worried with Gareth's reaction. I knew there would be no need to. So I said, he asked me to tell Gareth, so I said, okay, well, how about I take your dad the note you've written me, and then are you happy for your dad to come and talk to you afterwards, which he was. So obviously, well, you went straight up and spoke to him, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, what Charlie couldn't realise really, is that we already knew.
Well, we didn't know. We had an inkling, and I'm not even sure whether that's the right thing to say, because having done quite a bit of reading since, it's wrong to stereotype, so actually maybe that's not the right thing for us to say, but we are still going through a learning journey on this ourselves, but you're right, we did
it didn't
one
come
day.
as a surprise.
No, we weren't surprised, no.
But yeah, we were conscious to not kind of present him with that, and just make sure that he felt comfortable, and when he was ready to come and talk to us, then he could. However he did it, that's fine. And ever since then, really, I think it's just been a case of carrying that on, hasn't it? Making sure that he has a space he can talk, and he knows that his brothers and we are around him if he needs us, and for whatever he wants to talk about, really.
Other than that, it's more day-to-day things, isn't it? Sometimes we'll be sitting around the dinner table and one of the boys will say, oh, Charlie, when you get a girlfriend, you won't be able to do that. And at that point, we'll remind them that actually, we see Charlie's face sort of perk up.
Most of the time, Charlie will remind them and say, I don't think so.
Yeah. And then the boys just forget, and then they modify their language.
Charlie's in year 7. And we discovered that he's in a WhatsApp group with 60-ish other year 7 kids, and they just send all sorts of rubbish you can imagine 11-year-olds send on WhatsApp to each other. We were in the garden one day and he happened to hit play on a message, and I kind of stopped in my tracks and just asked him to replay it for me, and it was horrible, absolutely vile. A message from another child on there talking about autistic and gay people. Now, it would be a huge coincidence if it wasn't aimed at Charlie, given that he's both of those things. So I took that further at that point and had a chat with Charlie, who thankfully didn't take it personally. I think that's one of the... I don't suppose it's an upside, but it's a symptom of his autism in that he doesn't get overly emotive over things. So that worked in his favour. But I talked him through what I felt was wrong with it and what I wanted to do about that. And that was contact the head teacher at the school. And he was fine with that as long as they didn't know he'd snitched. The school were brilliant, actually.
And I think the most important thing out of this is because he will experience these things as he gets older. There's no shying away from that, unfortunately, that he will have to go through more than probably any of our other children will. But hopefully he can see that actually the speed at which Gareth dealt with that and got in contact with the school, the speed at which the school got back into contact with us and then alerted the police, shows him that we don't tolerate this, the school don't tolerate it, and the police don't tolerate it, and neither should Charlie. It's not okay. It's not. You shouldn't have to just accept those things and then try and brush it off. That's not his job to do that. It's for other people to manage their behaviours and their prejudice. So, yeah, like I said, thankfully he's okay.
You know, he knows that he can talk to us. That's the main thing. So I think now that has happened, if anything does happen like that again, then he can come forward with it, probably more comfortably than he could have done before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got over the scary dad moment, which wasn't scary at all. But yeah, I think like I said, we're going to be constantly trying to educate ourselves. I'm sure, well, I hope we don't, but I'm sure we will make mistakes along the way, but we would do our best to try and make sure that as Charlie grows older, throughout his teenage years, but then also into adulthood, that he's just got the right network and support around him, so that hopefully that he can just live a happy life without having to worry too much about other people's prejudice.